Okay, fellas, let's do this. This is B Junior from Endurance Productions YouTube channel, coming to you again with another post-viewing thoughts video on a recent movie watching experience. Let me lay down the ground rules as usual here. Post-viewing thoughts videos are usually a little more challenging because you're basically getting a snapshot. You haven't really brought it home yet and viewed it, soaked it up, and studied it enough, I feel, to do a full-fledged review. So they're not reviews, they're just my post-viewing thoughts, my feelings on the film. There may be some minor spoilers involved, so if you don't want to watch it, turn it off, come back and view it later. I'm not going to give away, hopefully, too much about it, but I'll get right into it. Nightmare on Elm Street, 2010, the reimagining, the redo, remake, whatever you want to call it. Starring Jackie Earle Haley as the new Freddy Krueger, and a long list of actors who I don't know, except for Clancy Brown in a supporting role. He's pretty cool. Okay, let's get right into this. My initial thoughts coming away from the movie. Let me start first with the special effects of the movie. That's a good place to start. It's your usual mix of practical and CGI effects that are expected in nowadays horror movies, or any movie for that matter. I don't think, personally, the CGI was overly done in the movie. I've seen some really overly used CGI movies in yesteryear, but this one I don't think was, to its credit, I don't think it was overly done. However, a con to that little topic of special effects for this movie. There are, I counted at least 2 main scenes in the movie that utilize CGI, and I think it was not done well at all. Okay, I'll just go ahead and tell you, there was 2 good scenes, or 2 big scenes in the movie where CGI I think was overdone a little bit, and it was not done well at all. But now, to its credit, like I said before, it was a decent mix of practical and CGI effects. They didn't go overboard with it. Okay, another thing to the reimagining or redo remakes of Nightmare on Elm Street's credit, this one, thank God, did not take the trek down with the, this is the next subject, music. Movie soundtrack. They did have at least one, I'm not going to tell you what the tune is, but they did reuse a couple times in the movie one tune, but it's like a classic tune. It kind of tied in with some small underlying humor to the movie, but other than that, they didn't have thank God they didn't have a product placement soundtrack like they did in Friday the 13th, where every 5 to 10 minutes you were subjected to just blatantly obvious they had to throw the music in there to sell the movie kind of music. It was just okay. Where this one, they relied on, thank God, a music score for the movie. Now, albeit it wasn't the greatest music score in history, but one thing to its credit was they did use some music cues from the original soundtrack, or the original music score, which I think tied in nicely. They should have stuck more to that, but they did use some music cues, and it sounded like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, or like one of the earlier Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Okay. Now, the next little subject, the actors and actresses of the movie. Jackie Earle Haley did his best, in my opinion. He did his best job that he could with following in the coattails of Robert Englund, which is a big pair of shoes to fill. And if anybody could have jumped in there and or tried their best and done a decent job at it, it could have been him, because he's not only hot on the scene right now, of course, with Watchmen, and I think he won an Academy Award recently for playing a pedophile in a movie or something like that. But anyway, which kind of ties in nicely with this movie, you know, odd sort of way. But Jackie Earle Haley did his best that he could with this movie. There are some one-liners in the movie, not full-on Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5 kind of one-liners, but they are tied in decently with the film. Some of the one-liners don't work, in my opinion, but some do. There are a couple of kill scenes with Freddy Krueger that I definitely did not see coming, and they scared the crap out of me. I think it had to do with the main... I watched it in a theater with very good sound, so part of it, most of it was jump scares. And when I say scared, I don't mean like Exorcist scared where it stays with you for days. I mean it's just jump scares that you're going to be able to, you know, remember later on when they happen. But there was a couple that I did not see coming. Now some I did know were right around the corner, but the way they executed it wasn't that bad, in my opinion. Getting back to the point there about the actors and actresses, the girl that played Nancy was okay, I thought. I didn't think she was overly used in the movie, and I don't think she was too whiny. The kid that they got to play kind of the Johnny Depp-esque character, her boyfriend type character, I didn't like him at all. I've seen him in something else, and I can't put it where, I'll have to figure that out later where I've seen him. He just doesn't belong in this movie, or they should have traded his role with another male lead role in the movie that I'm thinking of that was a lot stronger or a better actor, in my opinion. But the kid, I think his name was Quentin in this movie, he just got on my nerves. He was ultimately just very whiny and just wished Freddy would just took him out. I know it's terrible to wish that on somebody, but in this particular movie, hey, no holds barred when it comes to Freddy Krueger. But anyway, guys, getting back to the point, the supporting actors and actresses were your regular, Clancy Brown from Highlander fame and other movies that I like. He showed up in a decent and gave a good, strong performance, in my opinion. So the actors and actresses were kind of mediocre, and they did get quite a few unknown faces in the movie, which I think, to its credit, was a pretty good idea because that's the way these movies were spawned in the 80s. They didn't really have to have name actors. They just had a good story, and they were very creative. I'm not going to say this one followed in the original's footsteps as far as that is concerned, but that brings me to another interesting point. In terms of story, this one builds on the original story and sticks close to it. I will say that, with showing you more about the backstory of Freddy Krueger. Not a whole lot, but it shows you more of it. With that being said, a couple of the major cons of this film is it lifts at least 2, maybe 3 scenes from the original, directly from the original, and redoes it the exact same way they did it. I'm not going to tell you which ones, but if you've seen the trailers, you probably know which ones. But that's its cons, but its pros are it had some imaginative kills in the movie, and the dream sequences, I've got to be honest, in my personal opinion, which don't mean much, the dream sequences, most of the dream sequences in the movie were done pretty good. I mean, I liked how they meshed in these micro naps that they talk about in the movie, and sleep deprivation and things like that. Like I said, that's the part I liked about the movie the most, was some of the dream sequences were pretty aptly done. You can tell it's Samuel Bayer's first mainstream directorial debut. You can tell there's some faults in there as far as, the way things are done. But I didn't feel like it was overly Texas Chainsaw Massacre-ish, remake-ish. That's what everybody was afraid of. It seems like they use the same film stock, but you don't feel like you're in Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake land where it looks exactly the same. And they didn't have Freddy Krueger running underground like Jason was in that remake and all that. They stuck more to the story in this one. Overall opinion, guys, honestly, I'm going to have to see it again just like I always do to see if I truly like it and want to add it to the collection. One lasting thought that I think that this one's going to have over some of the other remakes, like the Crazies remake was a total piece of crap. I hated that movie. I wish I had my 2 hours back in retrospect. This one, I want to watch it again. I think this one's going to ring true a little bit better as opposed to some of these other crappy remakes like The Fog and The Crazies, is that it's going to have a little bit better rewatchability factor. Now, time will tell, but I think this one it'll make a little buck right now, and it wasn't overly commercialized, I don't think. I mean, it was to be a bigger movie, but I didn't see it on every single channel. I saw some commercials this week before it came out, but I think to its credit, that was a good move because it's not overly saturated in the market. Getting back to the point, rewatchability, I think this one will have a little bit better rewatchability. I would put it up there in terms of the Dawn of the Dead remake in terms of rewatchability. If you like that one, you'll probably like this one. And you'll want to watch it again. Dawn of the Dead and this one too, it's not as good as the originals. Never. It will be, but it's not going to fall stale, I don't think. It's not going to feel stale in terms of rewatchability like The Fog and some of these other just Prom Night and some of these other crappy remakes that we've been subjected to. But that's my initial thoughts, guys. I would recommend, guys, unless you're a Nightmare on Elm Street fanatic, go watch it on a matinee, save you a few extra bucks. or even wait for the DVD or Blu-ray if that's your thing, if you like home theater experience. But if you like horror movies, you're probably going to like this one. So go out and try it. Draw your own conclusion. That's my thoughts on it. Take care, dudes, and I'll see you next time.